Mario, I work just around the corner at SAP Labs, and 2.5 years ago, we wanted to understand why some of these iPad has just come out, why are they so sticky, so interesting? And we looked at video games and gamification back then in August 2010. When you Googled it, you got only 400 or 500 search results. When you Google it today, gamification, it's millions of those things. Yeah? So I'm working for SAP. SAP, 10 years ago when I came over here, people asked me, SAP, is this a startup? Back then we had 30,000 employees. Luckily our competitor helped us, Oracle started buying our other competitors, and everyone wondered, why are they doing that? And that was always advertising. Today is no discussion what SAP is. I run a blog, enterprise-gamification.com, where I'm talking about these things. And let's not talk about it anymore. Let's dive into this topic. I actually also brought my friends with attitude to set the tone. I will hand it out later, but you have to do something for that. This is the picture of a girl playing a video game. What do we see? Any
emotion?
Emotion. Good. What else?
Excitement.
Excitement. Yes.
Determination.
Determination. Yeah.
Intense absorption.
Intense absorption. Yeah. Nothing. She's focused. She's focused right now. Yeah. Is she successful?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
Not yet.
Not yet. I would say she's successful. She looks like she's beating it out of something. Yeah? She's really focused, and she's up with her emotion. She's in a fear, in her personal triumph. Is she relaxed? No. She's working hard here. Yeah? She's playing a game, but she's working hard. She's with all her emotions up here. Now think of any application that you've ever written. Yeah? I do not say SAP application, but any application. So the mood of your users, how would the picture look like for your users? Very different. So they're probably here with that. And if we understand what engages her so much, what gives her that fun, that entertainment, yeah, we may even get it up a little bit higher and help our users become more engaged with the thing. So this is a series of pictures done by London-based photographer Philip Toledano, and he has others like this. So we basically see the same kind of emotions here with that player. Yeah? But what you see better is how hard he's working, because he's really sweaty. Yeah? Or this one here. What would that be? But guess what? Is he going to try it again? Yeah. Certainly, yeah. Your user, yeah. So this guy, so now you think, great, I'm just having all these engaged users if I just use gamification. But the fact is, have you seen that video? I'll show you this video now. Oh, yeah. You realized, what a few weeks ago, this meteorite blasted over Russia and what happened. And this is the reaction of this person seeing that. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Could have killed him. Yeah? And this is his reaction to it. This is how engaged your users are. And if you want to engage them more, you have to overcome that thing. Now let's look at a couple of facts. Video gamers. What do you think is the average age of a video gamer? Numbers. 25, 16, 15, 31. Okay, so we're from 15 to 31. So according to the Entertainment Software Association, the average age of a gamer is 37 years. And also, 25% of video games are over 50 years. Do you have any idea why this may be the case?
Mobile.
Mobile?
Mobile short game.
No, we are waiting with that. I'm not yet talking about that. But why are they so old? 37. How do you play games? How did you play games until mobile came out? Facebook not necessarily. Yeah, also. Yeah, but before console games. Yeah, $60, $70. Who can afford that? People in that age range. Yeah, one side. Second thing is, when did the first game come out? First video game. Just go to the Computer History Museum. You see it there. Yeah? Actually, at the beginning of the 70s, 1972, Pong. So these people who are older than 50 were teenagers back then. Yeah, this is when they were the first time introduced to video games. And these people who are 37 today, they grew up with video games. So they'll play the games. Now, the Entertainment Software Association looked especially at console games back then, because this was the industry. Now, this industry changed completely. Yeah, we know we have web games, Facebook games. We have now, especially the mobile games. The price structure changes completely, which means for us also that nearly every child, every youth is playing video games. 97% of all youth are playing video games. Yes.
Is this just America?
This is just the data for America, but there is data available from other studies, yeah, about video gaming in the UK, in Italy, in Germany, in France, in Singapore, or in South Korea or Japan. You come up basically with similar numbers. You see also that other countries actually have more video gamers than population than the US.
What about gender differences?
I'm not going. Give me a second. I'm going to. There are more gender differences that we could talk about, but I'm talking about that quickly. Yeah? So 97% of the youth are playing video games. When they come into the workforce, when they are 21, 22, they've played 10,000 hours of video games.
Whoa.
If you've read Malcolm Gladwell, The Outlier, yeah, you know 10,000 hours is this threshold to be really on the mastery level. Yeah? So if you played 10,000 hours the violin, that's when you play in a symphonic orchestra. When you play football or soccer, 10,000 hours, that's when you play on really a national league level. Bill Gates had 10,000 hours of programming experience when he founded Microsoft. So these are the kids who are coming in the workforce having that experience, and they're expecting that experience. Yeah? And they're familiar with the game language. Gender differences. 42% of, according to that statistic, 42% are females, are women playing these console games. Now that is different from mobile and social games. We have a majority women playing there. Special games like Farmville, 70% of the players are women. Gamified systems like Pinterest, if you're familiar with that, 80% are women on there, yeah? Which is a different story. If you think games are competitive, it's just about competition, yeah? Think twice. Actually, many games have a way more social component in there. For example, poker. Yeah? Poker, when you look at it, is actually way more social than competitive, because you have to be able to read your players, understand the social cues that are there. Are you familiar with World of Warcraft? What is World of Warcraft?
What is
First person shooter.
Massively online players, the role
Yes,
players?
exactly. Yeah, so it's an MMORPG, as they would say. Yeah, a massive multiplayer online role-playing game where 10-12 million people are playing that and paying for the privilege, and they play an average 22 hours. I had a lot of people in my workshops and presentations that, 22 hours, I wish, yeah, because they played the first 2 or 3 months 60, 80 hours a week, and this beside the day jobs and so on that they have. And the real fun in that game starts only after 600 hours of gameplay. Just imagine that. What game is there that gives you only the real fun after 600 hours of playing it? The reason why I bring that up is these players created the World of Warcraft wiki with over 250,000 articles, which makes it the second largest wiki in the world. Which one is the largest wiki? Wikipedia. Is there anything like a HP wiki that is similarly large like that, or a General Electric wiki? Yeah, and no SAP wiki. We'll be lucky, I think, if we have 2,500, and we have a large wiki already. So what they're doing in here, these players, is they're describing the world that doesn't even exist. The characters, the races, the armor, the world, the crafts, everything that you can do there. 250,000 articles. These players worked hard to do that. And if we understand why they're doing that, yeah, how much could we do if we just get 1% or 10% of that in real world, yeah, for a charity, for an organization, for a company, for helping to society and not just the player community. That would be tremendous value that we have. And just to finish off, the most popular games that are played by US soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan when they are off duty are Halo and Call of Duty. What games are those? War, yeah, first-person shooters, war games. So let me translate that for you. Real soldiers serving in a real army, fighting a real war, are relaxing when they come home by serving as virtual soldiers in the virtual army fighting a virtual war. I'm not sure about you, but when I'm coming home from SAP, I'm not calling some customers to relax. So, also when we look now between games and work, we see actually that there's similar things that we expect or want to have. We have tasks, we have feedback, we have goals, path to mastery, we have rules, information failure, status of users, promotion, collaboration that we want, speed, risk, autonomy, narrative, obstacles, etc. So, what are you familiar with Angry Birds? Everyone played that? Yeah. So, what do you do with Angry Birds?
Launch them.
What would you launch? What? by slingshotting them. Don't ask me why. Yeah, what's the story behind that? But apparently. So what you do is, when you see me, when you watch me playing that game, is kind of always the same repetitive dull task. Yeah? But actually, it's total fun. Yeah? I really enjoy that playing. Yeah? Now imagine your users using your software, or you yourself doing something, repetitive tasks. Yeah? Click, click, click. Not fun. What's the feedback that you get when you do play Angry Birds?
Sounds.
You have sounds. This is a very good thing. Do you have any sounds that you use in your? Except you did an error. Yeah, you have sounds. Audio is very important. Yeah, the pigs are trash talking you if you're not killing them. Yeah, they're like, ha 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 ha. Yeah, and then you hear the crumbling down, and your own pigs are helping you with that thing. Yeah. What other feedback do we see?
Scores.
Scores, points, stars. Correct. We also see, of course, the crumbling structures, which is very nice. Yeah. But when do we see that? Immediately. Yeah. Now, when did you hear the last time a thank you from a colleague? No one? Cannot remember? It's that bad? I have at least always one person. Yesterday somebody said thank you to me. Yeah? So if you're lucky, you hear it once a year, performance review, basically what you've done 9 months ago. Yeah? Now tell me, how fun would it be if you realize only 3 months later that you killed the pigs? Yeah? This would not be really a fun game, and you could not learn what to do, yeah, how to become better. So we have not institutionalized really a feedback loop in our things. And the last one that I wanted to go there is promotion. When you play a game, you always know where you are because you get this feedback. You always know where how the others are doing. You also know how to get somewhere. Yeah? Now tell me, do you know how to become a manager? How to become an SVP? How to become an architect or a professor? Is there something like that says you win 10 customers with $15 million in total and then you become an SVP? Sales? No. Or you write 10 white papers and then you become a professor? Yeah. Nothing like that. And we don't, this is not a public track record. Yeah? Just imagine, ask yourself, how did your manager come to that position? Do you know that? Yeah. So it's not public, and we are living here in a capitalistic society, and I'm not intending any punches here, which says you earn what you deserve. Yeah? Bullshit. We know exactly that people who are coming up are the ones who can network the best, maybe kiss up the best, yeah, and maybe also do the best work. But it's not based on meritocracy, and this is really a chance for gamification. There was a question?
Yeah, I was just like, when you were talking about like feedback and some of the other areas, I was just thinking, and like, you know, when somebody said thank you to you, like I was just thinking like, you cannot draw like a really like a straight line from game to work, because like I'm a programmer and I'm working on a project, you know, that's maybe software that's going to be released like next year, and it's very complex. So until you get the job done, it takes more time versus just playing angry for instant feedback. So a lot of those, like you can't just relate one to one, right?
But I'm not talking about you release software in 1 year and then only then you get feedback. Software, you have little steps that you do. Yeah, you build the classes, you build it, you break it, or so you get feedback like this. You go with other people through the code. Is this a good code? Is this well documented, etc.? You never know that really. Yeah, so there is no feedback, and the feedback I mean not only feedback from your coworkers, but also feedback from the systems that you're interacting with. Yeah? How well am I doing? Can I become better? You don't want to learn a year later that you did a shitty job at the beginning because you did not have something at the beginning correct. Yeah. You want to know it then, and then learn and improve, yeah, and become better over the time. That is what I'm trying to tell. Yeah. So here's some quotes. Brian Sutton, a play theorist, he says, the opposite of play isn't work, it's depression. And we will see that actually that play and work very well together and even have a high synergy, that we get more out of that the single one gives us. But fun is just another word for learning. If you have a child, yeah, I have a 6-year-old, and you see how curious they are, the curiosity kills them really, really. You can't stop them from learning, from running there, trying stuff out, and doing the things. And somewhere, when they're teenagers, you know, then they're hanging just around and having this attitude, we just killed the curiosity in this way. Yeah? And also when you think of learning, I go to training, it doesn't sound often too convincing that you do. So we took it out, but we know exactly when we stuck with a problem and then suddenly we solve it after hard work, yeah? That this is something that we want to tell, that we are having fun with it. We had fun with it, we learned about it. And then Jay McGonigal mentioned that games are giving us unnecessary obstacles that we volunteer to tackle. So here's this example with golf. Yeah? What is the purpose of golf, the game?
Doing the ball into a hole.
Put the ball in the hole, correct, yeah. So why would they not just take the ball and just put it in the hole?
That would be too easy.
That would be too easy, exactly. We like challenges. We put in obstacles in between. Like you can only do that with a club. Yeah? You can do it only the hole is over there, 500 yards from here. In between we build sand bunkers and trees and rocks and suddenly it's fun. Yeah? We want to be challenged. But this does not mean that you have no blanche carte for adding obstacles in your software. It's already tough enough there. Now, what is gamification? So gamification is the use of game design techniques and mechanics to solve problems and to engage audiences. And we strive to encourage users to engage in desired behaviors in connection with non-game applications. So important here is that we solve a problem and engage our audiences and engage them in a desired behavior with non-game applications. So when you, I have a little matrix that I did because there's play, game, serious game, simulation, and gamification. And when you look at it, is it spontaneous? Are there rules? Are there goals? Is it structured? Is there a real-world outcome? And is it in the system happening? That means, is it just a side system, like a simulation system, or is it really in the ERP system, for example, or in the website working? Then you have such a matrix. We don't have time to go into more detail. I could tell way more about that. Now, here's where we have an opportunity. We're in reality. So this chap here has this fancy equipment. Yeah, he has a keyboard, he has a mouse, he has a headset. He has this fantastic rendering engine here. And he's ready to tackle everything that's coming. But what's coming actually is probably once a daily cat from the neighbors crossing the street. So you may think now, okay, I have heard about gamification and I understood what it is, but it's never really touched me. Yeah? So I will show you now a couple of examples where you are already gamified. Anyone a frequent flyer? Yeah. So loyalty programs are one of the oldest forms of gamification in modern history. Yeah, 150 years ago they started this discount and point systems. And what is the desired behavior that we engage in here?
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back, always going with the same airline. Yeah, maybe it's a crappy airline, and that one is much better, but here are my miles, and I fly with that. And even if the entertainment system is not working and the seats are like this, I'm flying whatever. It works fantastic. For those of you who are not flying, just take a Bevmo card, a Safeway card, whatever there. This is the same principle. Yeah. Tax season is coming. Anyone using TurboTax? Yeah. So last year when I used it, so gamification is basically you see here feedback, you seeing where you are. Yeah. So and then it asks you, now let's do mortgage. Yeah. Do you have a mortgage or do you have a dependent? Yeah. And then you see the numbers going up. Yeah. And you play that like in Las Vegas, and you're trying to get the numbers up there. Yeah. And at the end, it told me, "Ka-ching, you did it!" Last year in 2012, it had a pop-up that said, "Ka-ching, you did it." Really, this word. Have you ever seen software like that? See the software coming in there? Yeah. And then I was done with it. I said, "Can I do another tax return?" That's how convincing it. Now imagine I go to SAP or just to travel, yeah, and put in my travel expenses, and I know I should get money back there. But I hate it because the system keeps telling me how stupid I am. And this one helps you really to get it. Any LinkedIn users here? Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah. So who of you has put in more stuff in the profile because of that stupid power? You have 100%. Yeah. So you gamify. This is not the only place. You also have to tier. Your profile has been used by 12 people in the past 7 days. Ooh, I must be important. Yeah, how can I get this number up? And for those of you here in Germany they have a similar thing, which does the same. Yeah? Or electric vehicles. It has become kind of the standard for electric and hybrid vehicles that everything is gamified. So you have these numbers here. It's pretty decent in the Toyota Prius. You have just 62.5 miles per gallon. And people take pictures of that and post it on Facebook and brag about that, about their mileage. So other companies built that really in, like this Nissan Leaf is an older screenshot with a pedestal and a trophy that you can earn. Or you have here the Chevrolet Volt, which has this little tube here. So the ball should be in the middle. And when you are accelerating too fast, the ball goes up, it turns red. You are wasting basically your fuel. If you're braking too hard, it falls down and is also red. Yeah? So people are now so focused to keep that thing in the middle that they forget to brake. So they may have totaled their car, but the average is still great. Yeah? Or here's Fiat Ecoville. So all drivers of that car, their carbon dioxide savings are being put together, and then they have this what they call the Fiat Ecoville. These drivers contributed to saving 711,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide, which heats or keeps this village warm for 6 days. Yeah, so that's how much fuel they saved. Or here the Ford car has these leaves here on the side, yeah. So which was just seen as a gag at the beginning, it became an interesting thing because people wanted to decorate and kind of do that. Yeah. So you may think of who gives a shit about growing digital plants. Yeah. Anyone played Farmville? 85 million people grew digital plants and animals. Yeah, I know how to do that. Another gamified application, Amazon. Yeah. So here the ratings, the feedback that you see here, or here 18 out of 18 people found that review helpful. This review again is feedback to the book. Then here is a badge, the real name of this person. I must trust this person more, yeah, because it has a badge here. Or if you're sportive, yeah, you download Nike Plus, or you do something like Fuel Band, yeah, and keep track of your own biometrics. So you see here, you can challenge somebody, yeah. You see your average miles that how many miles you ran, and how many seconds or minutes you took. You can judge your run, or if this is too technical for you, you can use Zombies Run. Zombies Run is basically putting a narrative on top of that. It tells you live in a zombie-infested world, and once a day you have to get out of your shelter and collect batteries and food and this stuff, so you start running. Yeah? And in the back you hear zombies. And when they're becoming louder, you know they're too close and you have to run faster. And at the end of the run, you have little sprints in between. Yeah? So that's it. Let's take a look at the video. So what have you seen here? What did you see here? Feedback, yeah. What feedback did we get here? Or did the players get? What was the feedback?
So they can immediately see that whatever the action, they can see the feedback.
Can they do something, yeah? And then they see audio visual feedback and audio feedback, and suddenly they have a goal, yeah? So these people were basically strolling around, no goal, nothing there, no rules. It was apparently a French town evening, summer evening. They are there after dinner, just taking a walk, and then they see something. Did you see somebody giving them a manual?
No.
With instructions, like 20 pages, yeah, what to do? No. It was a smooth onboarding, yeah? One person started, and then suddenly it was a group, yeah? They came as individuals, but left as a group. They collaborated on that. And suddenly they had a goal. What was the goal?
Keep the movie going.
Huh? What was it, Marta?
Keep the movie going.
Keep the movie. No, that was not the goal. Get the guy naked. Yeah? Did they reach that goal?
Yep. Apparently.
Apparently, yeah. They may have not seen the crown jewels, yeah. But they got another. They also finished another goal. Yeah, reached another goal. Namely, they used calories. Yeah, lost calories. So what we've seen here is a smooth onboarding process. We see from individuals that they start collaborating. There's no manual. There are no points and badges that we see. So if you confuse gamification, obviously it's just points and badges and then it works. Yeah. No, there were no points and badges except there maybe the 2,000 calories at the end. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. There was audio feedback. There was visual feedback that we've seen, and it was engaging. The whole thing. Yeah, there was humor in there. Now let's take a more serious look at gamification, and let's see what analysts are saying about that. So Gartner, the analyst group, came up with what they said is the hype cycle. So every technology or every concept that comes out there has somewhere a trigger. That suddenly the visibility increases dramatically. Yeah, gamification 2.5 years ago, 400 search results on Google. Now millions of that. So the visibility went up dramatically. Yeah? Until we come to the peak of inflated expectations. Can we fly to the Mars with it? Can we cure AIDS and cancer? Can we do this? Can we do that? Oh, everything is possible with that. Until we see, Well, actually, can we fly to the Mars through gamification? Can we cure AIDS and cancer? I'm not sure about that. Yeah? So everything that, well, it's a crap. It's just not working, and everyone goes down here. But then people start thinking, well, actually, it worked pretty well for communities, and it worked well in marketing, and it worked well in education. What can we learn of that? And maybe, oh, that's the first customer support application that uses gamification. It's also good. So, and we're coming here and up on this plateau of productivity. Now, this is nothing that is special for gamification. This is also true for every other technology. CRM, social media, cloud, mobile, yeah, they all went through these cycles. Yeah? So that's very important. The analysts also say the gamification software market in 2016 will reach $2.8 billion. So today we are around 2013, we're coming to 400 million. This is a research by M2 Research and Analyst Group. But also Gartner says that, well, the global 2000 company, from them, 70% of them will have at least one gamified application by 2014. Those of these companies, 50% of those companies who have innovation management processes will have gamified that process by 2015. And I think the most interesting is from the global 100 companies, 40% of those will use gamification as the primary vehicle for business transformation by 2015. So change management is always a problem, new processes, new organizations, and they will use gamification, 40% of them. Now, what are the common reactions to gamification? And I have to say that I'm Austrian, so we are neighboring country to Germany. I work for a German company, and so I have a lot of German colleagues, so I tested always with them. And our relationship, Germany-Austria, is like, India and Pakistan, or Israel and Palestine, but more violent. Yeah, so, and I say that because Martin is here, is my German colleague. From our side, too. So I hear from my German colleagues, for example, I don't need to waste my time on fun stuff. I have serious work to do. Yeah? The same colleague who has a Senator status from Lufthansa. This is this executive who is collecting points at the gas station, yeah, for going always there, so that he can get it balled and afterwards. And who's watching the German soccer team playing during work hours? Or do we make our shooting game out of invoicing? What is the right answer?
Perhaps.
Yes.
Sure.
Sure, if it helps us to increase productivity by 15% or reduce costs by 20%, why would we laugh about that? Yeah? Actually, these are real quotes, yeah, so I'm not making them up. This is what I got. Or the skeptic German colleague that said, this is just, I need to, as long as they're winning in soccer against us, this is just exploiting employees. Nobody's gonna do that just for points. Well, we have a SAP community network with 2 million users. We are not paying those users to contribute, to blog, to answer, to respond, to edit the wiki. They just get points for that. But they're being exposed as experts in those areas. So guess people are doing that for points, for expertise, for being. And then the last one here is, well, Farmville, I don't play that. Who's playing it anyways? Yeah? I'm too intellectual at a German, I'm PhD. I guess I'm also PhD, yeah. But it may be that 85 million people who are playing, there may be a lot of your users in there who actually play that game. And they are familiar with this language, so get ready for that. There was a question.
Well, I just want, since these are all Germans, I wanted to hear you say one of these in German, maybe the third one.
In my German accent,
they're speaking, they said it in German, I guess.
With an Austrian accent.
I get to say that. Let's say that. Ich brauche meine Arbeit doch nicht mit lustigen Sachen zu vertreiben. Ich habe ernste Arbeit zu tun, ernsthafte Arbeit zu tun. Now, for my Germans, I have also something, yeah, because they don't believe in Gartner. It's an American analyst group, and they're always talking a lot. So I have to bring in a German philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer, and he said there's the truth hype cycle. Every truth passes through 3 stages before it is recognized. Just say that, this is a tongue twister. Yeah? Every truth passes through 3 stages before it is recognized. The first stage is, it is ridiculed. Yeah? Do we make an ego shooter out of invoicing? Ha ha ha. So this is this stage. Yeah? The second stage is it is opposed. This is the most stupid thing that I've ever heard. I have serious work to do. I have no time for fun stuff. Yeah? And the third stage is that I always told you we have to I wish we were there. Yeah? Now we have heard some stereotypes. Yeah, we learned about everything gamified. We've heard the analysts. Now let's take a look at does it even work. So I give you some examples of how it worked and where it worked. So this is folded. This is a protein structure. And scientists of this university in Washington, they had this problem that they wanted to fold the structures in order to find cures for AIDS and cancer so that they can latch drugs on that thing. What they've tried 15 years is to find computational mathematical methods to fold these structures, but they were not successful. They always failed with that. So at the end, they did kind of a Hail Mary pass, or kind of the last resort was, well, this guy had this idea, let's make a game out of that. They made a spatial 3D puzzle out of that thing, and within 10 days, all the puzzles were solved by 46,000 players. These players were not professors or scientists or PhD assistants or students or so. These were the 11-year-old boy from Brooklyn folding that thing. And this was so successful that they still use that thing. It's already branched out in multiple different games that they have, and that's how it works. Or this one is a bottle bank. How do you get people to recycle? This was done in Sweden. You can watch the video. So what they did is they created a bottle bank with 6 holes and flashlights on top of that. Whenever there was a flashlight going, that's where you had to put in the bottle. Yeah? You got points, 100 points for each bottle, and this was the high score. Now let me get it right, straight. You could not do nothing with these points. You could not take them home. How do you brag about that thing? But when you watch the video, you see the people there, yeah. 50 times more bottles were recycled as that one than at just in one block down. We've seen about that one, yeah. 53% reduction in speeding cars. Here's a restaurant chain that when they had and gamified their waiters and waitresses. So they give them feedback of how much tips and how much how large the sum on the tab was. Now, a good waiter can add $7, $8, $9 to tab, while a bad waiter can deduct that amount. Yeah, the good waiter, of course, people feel comfortable, they order more, while a bad waiter you just want to get the hell out of the restaurant. And once they did that, people were suddenly doing more because they got feedback how well they are doing and saw themselves ranked with others. Yeah? And so in total it increased the sales by 3.1%, 12% increase in gratuities, and overall the chain made $1.5 million more in revenue because of that. Maybe you've seen that one, the piano staircase. How do you get people not to go take the escalator, but just make a piano out of that, yeah, and walk up there? In Singapore, there will be a serious game conference, and they're planning to do another piano like that. So watch that video; it's really fun. Just to let you know, I will share the slides, share all the links, and can go through that and read it in peace at home. So here's an example from sales events. So a sales agent has to report an event. An event is when he or she interacts with a customer on the phone, visiting them. But management suspected that there were not enough of these events reported. So what they did is they introduced points for doing that. So suddenly it's shot up from 50 to 85 events that were reported per week. And not only that, people, the salespeople who are actually being paid by commissions, so for each sale that they close, they get a commission. It means the more people they are calling and talking to, the more likelihood is that they have more sales. They got motivated by seeing themselves on this list, and they called even more people just to be higher on that list. It was not the commission that motivated them, it were the points that you had here. And the last example is the call center, Live Ops. Live Ops is a call center, and they used the gamification in order to educate their call center agents and give them feedback of how well they're doing, and could reduce the call time by 15% by keeping the same quality of information, and increase the sales by 8 to 12%.
So what would it take for you to not pee on the toilet seat?
A lot. I got it!
So here's my question for the girls in the room, not the men. You shut your mouth. What is the purpose of the pee in the water? To what? A target, correctly, yeah. We men are hunters, yeah. So the reason why I asked it is I had a year ago the first time came the question from a woman. I don't get the pee. Yeah. Well, it turns out that she had girls, yeah, and never watched her. So whatever. 20 years ago in Amsterdam Schiphol at the airport, yeah, they put these little flies in these urinals, yeah, which led to reduction of the cleaning costs by 80%. Because men were not like this. Hunters, yeah. Okay, this is a different topic. Let's not talk about that. So what did we see here? The boy was peeing on a toilet seat. Yeah. For whom is that a problem? For the boy? For the father?
Mother?
For the mother. The mother is not in the picture here. So who's gonna clean the toilet seat?
The next one wants to sit on it.
Hmm? The next one wants to sit on it. Right. So basically, the father has the problem. Yeah? The boy pees on the toilet. Of course, he can now go ahead and say, "You're grounded, no videos, no candy, you stay in your room, blah blah blah." Yeah. But as soon as the father is gone or somewhere else, yeah, the boy will fall back into this scenario, yeah, his behavior. So he does something else. Yeah. He looks at what's the boy caring about. Yeah. Cowboys apparently. Yeah. So he makes a high noon situation, and he only gets this full engagement when he does all the steps in order to do that. So let me rephrase that. The father, the manager, has a problem, and the employee, the son, doesn't care about that. So he turns it into something that the son cares about, yeah? That the employee cares about. And that's what we have to think. We are not thinking that like that when we build software. We build software not for the user, we build it against the user. Yeah? We build it the way the manager wants it, or the person who giving it does that order does it. We're never caring really about what the user wants, yeah, and what they are caring for. So that's what the father does here. Again, he's not using points and badges. The son doesn't understand that. Yeah? He uses the narrative, visual feedback, audio feedback. We hear the music playing in this Hallmark card that he has. Yeah? And is he successful?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not completely, but moving in that direction.
Not completely. Well, it's 4 out of 5 times. If I'm the father, if I were the father and had only 5 times to clean instead of 9 times, it's a big success. 44% is actually freaking successful, because if you're having 44% more sales, you would also consider it as big success. Yeah? And then we have at the end unintended consequences. The underpants laying there, the toilet paper not being. Is this negative? Is this positive? What do you think? As a gamification designer, this is an opportunity to make the game richer. Yeah? To use that to bring in more, to make this game longer lasting. And that is the story here. It's not gamification. It's not a project. It's a process. Yeah, you are playing longer. You take every opportunity to make it richer and richer. Now let's take a look at some things like, for example, the flow concept. Michele Csikszentmihalyi, the Hungarian professor, he lives in the US already since he's 8 or 9. He interviewed creative people, Nobel Prize winners, Pulitzer Prize winners, and he figured out what makes people creative. How do they feel? At what stage are they in this creativity stage? Yeah, and he figured out that people were always talking about this flow, and you know this flow. When you're in the flow, 3 hours look like 10 minutes for you. Yeah, just 10 minutes ago I just get in, and now 3 hours gone. Yeah? Now this is a match, a balance between skills that I have and the difficulty of the task that I have. When I play Angry Birds, I do not have 5 or 6 bird types at the beginning. I have one bird type. Yeah, and then I start playing that, and oh, the structures fall down. Yeah, when I do it like this, then it goes like that. Yeah, and suddenly my skills increase, and then I'm at a level, and then suddenly a second type of bird comes in and keeps me back in this flow. And I play half an hour and 2 hours, and I'm still playing with that, and I know that I can do it, and so on. When we are putting them, when we have too much difficulty right from the beginning, we put them into a zone that's called frustration. Yeah? On the other hand, if the people are too good already, but we're not increasing the challenge, we're putting them in boredom. With software that we build typically, with most of the applications, we put them immediately into that thing, into that zone. Yeah? We have to think of them, how can we get them into this flow zone and make it slowly but slowly more complex. And think of that just really like a CRM application or a website or a banking application. Yeah? How do you keep that balance, that the unlock features that you bring them up like that? Now here's some game mechanics. Badges, leaderboards, virtual currencies, feedback on all levels. This is a comment to an article. This guy has 15 followers. Here, 6 people thought it's a brilliant comment. One person thought that sucks. Yeah? But this is feedback that I get. And some websites list like 47 or more different game mechanics that are in there. Actually, that's a pretty confusing number of things. We'll look it up. Free lunch, 9 coffees. You pay the 10th coffees for the house, yeah, etc. When you build such an application for such flow zones, you also have to think of getting rookies in quickly, give them early success, yeah, help them to get in there. And then when you have regulars, the people who are coming regularly, who are always there, they're creating habits, they're checking Facebook daily, yeah, or multiple times. They're habit building. That's for them something to hang out, to be there. And now the people who know everything about that, who have a vision for that, who are mastering that thing. These are the masters. And they want to teach maybe. They want to take the rookies at hand and mentor them and help them out. Or they create challenges, like for example, level building in games. Yeah? Instead of having just the 60 levels that come with the game, there's only 10,000 levels that the players create. But make it always easy to onboard and make it difficult to master. Richard Bartle, he's a game designer, and in the 80s, 70s and the 80s, he created, together with others, what was called the multi-user dungeons. These were the kind of the first online games, all text-based. And when you look at the players that he had there, he figured out there were 4 types of players there. The first type were the killers. The killers are those people who want to win, who want to kill everyone, who want the others to know that they won, and want the others to tell that they won. Then there were the achievers. The achievers are those people who want to have all the gold coins, who want to all the stars, everything, collect everything. They have this Gucci bag that costs $2,000, but just because it has this Gucci label on that, it doesn't even exist. It's just a digital thing. Yeah? These are the people who spend, if they had the money, they spend $100,000 and more in these games. There are people like that. Yeah? They're called the whalers. And then there are explorers. They want to discover all the corners, all the levels, everything what's there. And if they are done with one character, they log on with a different character, because a cat cannot go in a mouse hole while a mouse can, and suddenly you discover new worlds. And the last one are the socializers. The socializers are the ones who play games Doesn't matter which game actually, just to interact with other players. Yeah? Individuals are just computer-generated actors. Now, we are all full of those things. Some more, some less of those things. But if we say we could only be one, this is mutually exclusive, we could be only one, how many people do you think are killers, or pure killers? A guess, in percent. Just give me a guess.
10%.
10%. 1%. More? What is more?
40%?
40%. So from 1 to 40%, yeah? What about the achievers? 70.
50.
50 to 70. More or less? 20 to 70. Okay, good. So at the end, you have to have 100% following. Explorers? 10%?
35.
35 to 30. Yeah, 5 to 30. And the socializers?
This is the largest category.
How many?
I guess 50.
50%? 60, 50 to 60?
85%.
Hmm?
85%.
85, 50 to 85%, yeah. Why not 85.5? Yeah. I'll show you the numbers.
Wow.
So the socializers are actually, you were close with 85, yeah, so the socializers are actually the largest group. So if you think about gamification or gamifying something and using competition in there, you're catering to 1%. And actually, no women, unless you're married to my wife.
I think it's already taken.
She's already taken, yeah. So when you think of it, if you gamify something in your company, you want to engage, you want to encourage collaboration, because we are forming companies and organizations to collaborate. Together we can achieve more as individuals, yeah. And how many people can win in a company that has 65,000 employees? One person. It means 64,999 people are losing. Yeah. So there's a lot more that you can say about competition, more different things, but let's look at motivation. So we're talking about extrinsic and intrinsic motivators. Extrinsic comes from outside of an individual, and these are things like points, level, badges, money, leaderboards, gold stars, progress bars. These are things that, so when I tell you $500 if you do that work until tomorrow, yeah, that's an extrinsic motivation. Yeah? But if you're sitting here, you're not being paid for sitting here because you're driven by an interest to hear about that. Yeah? It exists within the individual. And these are things like belonging, autonomy, power, mastery, meaning, learning, self-knowledge. Yeah? There's a higher meaning to something. Yeah? If you have troubles understanding the differences, just think 60 years from now, you're laying on a deathbed. Yeah? You have made peace that you're going to die. What will you remember at this moment? The miles that you collected on United? Sure, yeah? No, you will be thinking, of course, of the relationships and the experiences that you had. And these are all intrinsic motivators. Now, extrinsic motivators can highlight those, so they're not evil per se, but as long as you can tie them into intrinsic motivators, you're doing some good things. And then there are, of course, fun motivators that help you to make it more engaging. One of them is, for example, collecting. Yeah? Anyone collecting baseball cards or collecting something? That's fun. Yeah? Or there is being a hero or being a villain, yeah? Or experiencing beauty and culture, pretending to live in a magical place, being scared. Yeah? Why do I go on a roller coaster? Yeah? That's fun, actually. Now, I show you some examples from companies. This is a plant wheel from Siemens. Here you play in a simulation game, basically a plant manager. Such a game cost nearly $1 million. Took them 9 months to work on that. And you simulate the plant, and you understand at the end everything that you need in order to run. You're probably not able to really run a plant, but you understand better the mechanics of a plant and what you need to do. Or this here is Waze, kind of Google Maps on steroids, yeah, Israeli company. And you see here, it's a navigation system. You report when you turn it on how many miles you go and how fast you go on each thing. So it's not like reporting to the police, but it's reporting to everyone else, is there a traffic jam or not? And people who report it a lot can then change their characters, the avatars. They have, for example, then a crown or a shield or a knife or something like that. And last year I took the picture around Easter, so I have an Easter bunny here, and I have an Easter egg over there. So that means when I drive there, actually, and drive over that thing, I collect more points. Yes, it's the opposite of a sustainable application, actually. Brings me to drive more.
Actually, so you probably know this already too, but Waze also uses the gamification for the creation of the map. So what's very disruptive about it is that the average mapping company has to spend $1 billion a year on their maps. But if you get people to draw your maps for you by driving over Pac-Man dots,
yeah. That's what it did. Yeah. So you drive with the car where there are gaps in the thing, so there were sometimes holes in there because nobody had driven there. And then you drive there with that, and apparently that's a thing. That's how you earn points. This is the SAP community network where we have 2 million users, and they are blogging, they are responding to questions of other people. And they're being highlighted as experts there. So people actually who top in these 400 areas that we have pop up as top, or the top 3. These are people really who get a lot of their leads through the SCM. Customers are contacting them if they have time for project. We're here, Code Academy, learn programming by unlocking levels and badges. Very popular with kids. Well, this is here a sales simulation. How to get salespeople at SAP to learn more about mobile technologies, the same mobile technologies that they're selling. This is such a dynamic area. You see this video of this CIO here. He's talking, asking questions, and you're unlocking features, unlocking next levels. And at the end of that game, you know way more about this technology and can go to a real sales negotiation and are prepared. Or this is an innovation management system where people put in ideas. And you can buy stocks in that idea and bubble it up. So like a stock market of ideas. The company is called Spigot. But this was Shanghai Airport, the border officer. Yeah? So I'm coming in, immigrating, and then it says here, rate your border officer. Yeah? Well, I did not rate him. I just made a picture of that because I wanted to leave the country. And that thing also, I saw that in Israel. I saw that at least in 2 other countries now as well. Yeah. But this is here then gamification, the vampire hunter. Yeah. So find the energy suckers in your facility. So you are meeting with colleagues and say, at 12 on the 3rd floor, we are going through the office and look at these energy wasters, yeah, like an old light bulb that is here. We take a picture of that, report it to facility. There's a surge protector that is still charging, although it should not do anymore. And at the end, I earn points depending on the kilowatt hours. Now, I hope the company save $100,000. Great, yeah. Well, I'm not seeing that on my bonus. Yeah. I saved the planet. Yeah. Well, that's also great. Yeah. Well, I don't see really a lot of change. But what I did is I learned. And I socialized because I worked there with colleagues that I may have not known. Yeah. So we're coming to the last slides. The last slides are about how do you make career today? Yeah. So this is called in German actually intestine acrobatics. Yeah. Making career this way. This is a German career fair. So. With that mental image, so if you think now gamification, not just one application, but all applications that you have, yeah, in your organization, all processes, all systems, you get a clear skill profile of your users. Currently, what they can do, what they are, what activities they did, and then you can go ahead and match those skills in teams, in projects. And this will become way more important data and some of the most important data sets that you have. In order to collect that kind of data, you need to work with gamification platforms. They basically keep track of the activities, they give points, there are rules that they offer widgets so that they can have leaderboards and point systems in there, etc. So this is just a collection of them. I have a full list that I'm aware of on my website here. And if you want to learn more and level up, I have a book coming out there. Well, I hope I have it in April or May time. So I have already 480 pages, but it's never ending. I have to make a hard cut. That will be a book on how to gamify an enterprise.
Is it going to be available as an ebook?
Ebook and print. Yeah, both. So you can, or there's some other books here, and I especially recommend Drive, if you don't know that. Yeah, to start with, it's like kind of the basis foundation for everything. And then there are workshops. So there's one workshop that is for free. That is the gamification workshop from Coursera, from Kevin Werbach, a professor in Wharton Business University. They are just starting now in April again. And then I also have workshops. And there's a workshop coming up, actually, the G Summit in 1 month in San Francisco is the Gamification Summit, a 2-day event. And the day before the event starts, the conference, is a gamification workshop that Gabe Zicherman and me hold. Yeah, so we hold 2 workshops in parallel. Now, how do you can get also with that learn about gamification? First, learn about one gamified application every day. Look at application like, for example, Instagram. Yeah, why is somebody paying $1 billion for a picture application that makes your pictures look bad? Yeah. Why is Pinterest interesting? Or Zombie Run? Yeah, just really get in this habit to do that, analyze that, and not just look at it superficially, but really keep using it until you have the epiphany why it is so addictive. Play games, yeah. Socialize, play, analyze those games. Approach boring situations with a playful attitude, like for example, standing in a traffic jam. Yeah. How can you gamify that? Look at how many people are shaving, yeah, or putting up makeup. Count that. Find the high score the next time. Give positive feedback 3 times a day and have fun. If you have any questions?
Thank you, and thank you for lots of examples. And the thing that you didn't mention, and I know you know a lot about, is what about when people try to game the system?
Cheating.
Cheating.
Cheating. So some people say cheating is actually good because then people engage with the system. Yeah? But there's a lot to say.
Well, but that's fine, but in enterprise software that may or may not be good. I mean, do you want the salespeople to be, cheating the game?
So first thing is people not just start cheating once we have gamification. They're already cheating today. So we're cheating. Everyone's cheating. You thought you cheat me and say this is a fantastic presentation. I say, well, you're an interesting audience. So, we are equal. Yeah. But you can make it tougher to cheat. Yeah, you want to keep it cheating at a lower level, because if too many people are cheating, then these people who think the game becomes unfair, the gamified application becomes unfair, disengage. And this is exactly the opposite of what we want to achieve.
Right.
Now there are mechanics in order to reduce cheating, yeah, and how you can bring it down by gamification, for example, yeah, making all the records public of how you earned the points, yeah, or by really working on other mechanics to keep cheating down and understanding why people actually are cheating. Yeah? If you have large values to give out as prizes or not. Yeah. It's
some of the examples that you showed, like where the user was engaged for the wrong reasons, like just for the point versus the actual purpose. So I'm feeling that couldn't it be like enterprise software or general software?
Yeah.
Couldn't there be like an overkill of using gamification technology?
Yeah.
And gamification also kind of sounds to a lot of people like a loaded term. So what do you think of? Like what I think of is like what you were showing is making UI more fun and engaging. So what is the difference between those 2 terms?
Yeah, so you bring up 2 good points. One is are the points really the thing that people are caring for? Yeah. So it's not about the points, it's actually that you tie it into intrinsic behavior, intrinsic motivations. Yeah. Like we saw with the community. People are not, I'm not there for points. When I have 10,000 points, I'm not caring about the additional 40 points anymore. But it keeps me as an expert in an area, which gives me access to executives, to media, which highlights me. I get early access to new knowledge, or I have contact to peers. So it's a very social learning thing, and that's an intrinsic motivation where the points tie in. So if you do just shallow points, it's not helping. Yeah, and these are just one mechanic, one feedback that you have, feedback point. Yeah, but what you want to do is you want to give more meaning to that. I belong to something, and make it smarter and not obvious. So that brings us to gamification. Yeah, should I talk to people about, hey, I just gamified the system? Did you know before that LinkedIn is gamified? Or Amazon? They never tell you that. Yeah? Of course, we know as a gamification designer it is. So I'm not going and send it out to 10,000 employees and say, we gamify the system, yeah, and exploit you now. We're not talking, they said we increase the usability and give you more feedback to that so that you have an understanding of how you can become better and so on. Yeah? And this is often motivation, not because this is what people are not. Gamification, the dirty secret is really to give people the information at the right time in the right amount. Although we are striving for doing that already, yeah, we're never hitting it really because we're not hitting the nerve why people should care about that thing.
Because like you said, the term, like let's say if I'm talking to my boss and tell him like, hey, let's make this and we'll use gamification strategies, they may, and his boss, they may not take it that seriously because like you said, because just because they think games doesn't work with enterprise, like, software.
Yeah, so that's where I come in with the evangelization and where I say, okay, if you have really a culture where many people have a problem with that, just call it engagement or behavior platform or behaviorism or something like that. Yeah? And then that corporate, and then you sneak in gamification. Yeah?
Right.
Next question.
The example with LinkedIn and Facebook, the difference is it's one-to-one. I don't know your LinkedIn rank, your LinkedIn information, but only you know that. But in US, what feedback have you received when trying to share productivity or performance information? What I found was it's a complete no-no. Nobody knows anybody's compensation, salaries. It's all in HR box.
So here's a good point because we may come into actually legal problems. Yeah, not so much in the US. There's more like people don't like it, maybe. Yeah. But we see that people are sharing cloud scores on their resumes, cloud scores, social media influencer kind of thing. Yeah. So why would they not share a gamification score later if they have an opportunity to highlight how well they are? Most people who have problems are the ones who are on the lower scale with that thing. In Germany or Europe generally, we have other data privacy laws and labor laws, and this could become a problem there. So I'm aware of those things, of discussions. There are ways to do that, to compare yourself, but as soon as you use it, for example, this gamification data to lay off somebody or decide a bonus on the data, you have a problem. No questions? Good. Thank you.
Thanks very much.